Everybody, what's going on? Today, we're going to be talking about Liz. We all know Liz by now. She's one of the most popular champs in the game, and for good reason. She is easily a top 3 epic in the game, I would say. I don't really think that's even being debated much right now. She is a crazy champ. She belongs with the legendary champs for sure. Just insanely good. So let's talk about her skills, and then we'll talk about some gear, emblems, and auras, and yeah, hopefully you leave this feeling like you know what to do with her. On the A1, we have a 30% chance of placing HP burning for 2 turns. On the A2, we have a heal with a block debuffs buff, which is nice. It's a 3-turn cooldown. This is a pretty cool skill because you can use it on someone who's in some danger, right, that needs a heal, and then it gives them a little protection with the block debuffs. Or you can use it kind of proactively, the way that I do on my free-to-play account with the Sentin. What he provokes everyone, and then what I do with her is, even though he doesn't need a heal yet, I just put the block debuffs on him so that everybody that's hitting him with their A1, if they have any stuns or defense downs or HP burns or anything that could be a problem for him, he doesn't catch any debuffs and he's able to counterattack as effectively as I need him to every single time, right? So you can use it that way as kind of like proactive protection for someone, or again, to save someone who's in some danger. So it's a pretty cool little skill. Passive restores HP by 3% of max HP for every 1 debuff inflicted on an enemy. Gets up to 5% with skill ups. And then the exclusive one is really when she becomes a problem. She's got burn or HP burning received will by self will be converted into a heal. So basically, she's taking the strongest debuffs in the game and turning them into support for herself. This is a big problem. You have to be very careful if there's a Liz in the mix and you're running someone like an Augman or anyone that's doing AoE HP burns, or if she's the only target, anyone with any HP burns at all is going to make her that much harder to kill. I have run into a Liz or two in my time in the game that was by herself in the arena that I couldn't kill. So it's very problematic when she's got that first exclusive. So be aware of that when you're fighting teams that have her. Look for this little yellow tick right here, because if she's got it, don't bring HP burns. It could be a big problem for you. And then on the ult, restores HP by 10% of max HP for all allies and cleanses 3 layers of dot debuffs. Meanwhile, grants some shield by 20% of her max HP for 2 turns. With exclusives, she heals based on how many dots cleansed, and then with the third one, she doubles the shield. So there's just a lot going on here. For a champ that's ultimately so simple to use and build and is good literally everywhere, she's doing so much. She's effective in so many different ways. She's got HP burns on the A1. You're going to be shooting her HP up anyway, so her HP burn damage is going to be up there. She's going to be able to contribute damage across the board, especially in things like Guild Boss and PvE, but honestly even in Arena. You have a heal with block debuffs on the A2, which again can be used in multiple ways. You've got a passive with a lot of self-sustain, and with an exclusive, it just gets ridiculous if there's any HP burns in the mix. And then on the ult, you've got an AoE heal, 3 layers of dot debuff cleanse, which again, dots are by far the hardest thing to deal with in the game. She's cleansing 3 layers of those, and then putting a shield on everyone. And then if she's got third exclusive, the shield is doubled. That is so much for a champ to do. You could honestly justify just putting a gold background behind her face here. She really is legendary quality. She's so insanely good, okay? As far as her gear goes, I currently have mine in a speed and healing set. It's working out okay for me. It's working out fine. She's doing her job. You do want to shoot her HP up. If you've pulled her earlier in the game, I definitely recommend getting an HP set on her. You do want that HP up. You want her hard to kill. You want her HP burns doing a lot. You want that HP up so that the shield is better, right? The higher her HP, the better the shield. I don't think a speed set is a terrible idea. You do want her to be fast to cycle through her cooldowns as quickly as possible, to constantly be pumping out that support. Effect hit is nice on her. I don't know if you should focus an effect hit set. The HP burns are nice for sure, but I think, in my opinion, it's probably better to worry more about the support things that she does and get the effect hit later if you can get it in some substats or something. It's only a 30% chance to land the HP burn. I feel like the HP burns with her are a bonus. I don't think it's something you want to lean into since she's only going to be doing it a little bit less than a third of the time on paper. It's not worth sacrificing some of the more important stats on her, okay? Tenacity's not a terrible idea. Maybe a little bit later if you wanted to play around with that. Mastery, again, I wouldn't bother. Healing Effect, I think, is a solid set for her. I think if you can boost her heals, that's pretty good. Effect Resistance, maybe a little bit later down the line, is not a bad idea. A lot of it's fairly standard heal support stuff, right? So we know we want the tank stats high, preferably HP over defense, because she does have an HP burn that we do want to get something out of, if possible, and she's got other mechanics that are based on her max HP. So in her case, I wouldn't really worry about defense. I would say HP, speed are very important for her. Healing Effect is pretty important for her, I would say. And then if you wanted to start thinking about some of the sets from the Forge, let's go over here real quick and take a look at what our options are. Really? Right now? Right now? Really? All right. I would say that this is not a terrible idea, actually. Later game, right? When you're getting to the point where Tenacity and Effect Resistance are going to start getting important, which will be later Arena, maybe much later PvE content. Tough Set is not a terrible shout for Liz or a support like Liz, okay? I think a First Aid set is actually a pretty solid set. You're getting speed and healing effect and some bonus effect hit, right? You're not really sacrificing anything to get the effect hit here, and you are going to make it that much easier for her to land the HP burn. So I actually think First Aid set and Tough Sets are very solid options for her, okay? Endurance, yeah. Again, I wouldn't focus Mastery too hard on her. Holy Set, excellent. HP rate and healing effect are huge for her, okay? So Holy Set's a fantastic set. Feather Set is a fantastic set. And then beyond that, that would be where I would say leave it. Feather, Holy, and then First Aid and Tough are the Forge sets that I would say would probably shine on Liz, okay? I think those would be the ways to go. And then as far as the stats that you do want to focus on her, of course HP, of course speed, and then healing effect is pretty nice, right? If you can get a lot of extra healing effect, that's going to be great. And then effect hit as a byproduct. Like you see, I don't have very much effect hit. If you can get a little more, great. But I truthfully don't think it's worth sacrificing any of the other important stats, which are HP, speed, and healing effect. I think are the important ones for her, okay? So if we go through her gear real quick, you'll see a theme. Speed, effect hit, HP rate. HP rate, speed. We've got flat HP there, but down here we've got HP rate and healing effect, and then healing effect, speed. Down here we've got a flat HP main stat with a little HP rate in the subs. Here we've got healing effect with HP rate, and then here we've got speed, okay? Now, obviously, we're a little bit limited because we need to farm more stuff, but that's what I'm rocking on her right now, okay? So any of those sets, focusing any of those stats. As far as emblems, this is what I've decided to do with her, and there's some other thoughts on some other ways to do it, and we'll talk about that. Up here, we went with HP, shielded effect, healing effect, more healing effect for allies under 50% HP. She gets a little more speed if she does land a debuff, which is kind of cool. For allies under control, she heals and shields them better. Chance to reduce the cooldowns, again, just to help her turn cycle, or cooldown cycle a little bit, rather. 10% chance to remove one layer of non-control debuff for self. This just, again, makes her a little bit more annoying. If you're putting like a defense down on her or something, when this is done, she'll have a 30% chance of removing it at the end of her turn, which is going to be a real big pain in the ass. And then here, I went with healing effect, and this is where we're going to talk about potentially another way you could go here. Speed is also not a terrible shout, but I went with healing effect because I wanted to lean into the heals a little bit. Alternatively, what you can do is just give her the max HP so that her shield is better, right? That gives her more survivability, and it makes her shield better. I think either way is viable. I think it's going to depend on what you're doing with your Liz, where you feel like your priorities have gone, what stats you maybe feel like you need some help on. If you don't feel like you have enough HP on her, then give her this one. This will increase her survivability. It'll make her shield better. Over here, I just wanted to boost her heals a little bit. This is the first emblem tree I've done on her too. I'm sure I'm going to refresh this and experiment with some stuff, but that's what I went with for my bottom mastery. And then on the defense tree, we went with resistance, healed effect, effect resistance before the end of the first turn of each wave, control resistance, I don't want her getting controlled, damage received, and restores max HP, okay? Or restores self HP by a percentage of max HP. So that's what I've gone with her. I'm sure there are many ways to do this. So this is not the only right way to do it. I encourage you to read these and see if you think any of them apply to her kit in a specific way that might be more beneficial for the way you're using her. I think the biggest thing right here that is a glaring thing you could be doing differently would be just giving her more max HP with the defense tree. So that's your call. That's going to depend on what you're doing with her and how you're feeling about it. But I think either one is extremely viable. As far as auras, I gave her the healing effect because, again, I want to lean into her heals. I want her heals to be beefy. I think that's a pretty good way to go. You could reduce the chance of taking a crit if you wanted to go that route. I don't know that it's super necessary, but you could do that, I reckon. The extra recovery aura, I think, is going to be good on most champs, to be honest. Restoring 18% of your HP after casting a skill is kind of ridiculous. You're restoring almost a fifth of your HP every time you use a skill, so that's a little bit crazy. Let's see. As far as purple auras, speed is never a bad idea. I guess if you wanted to lean into that, you could. What else we got here? Restores all allies at HP of the caster's max HP after casting a skill. This is kind of insane. Just way over the top extra on her healing skills. And then as far as legendary, which it's gonna be a while before you get to the legendary auras, but again, speed is never a bad idea. If you want self-sustained magic touch is insane. And then yeah, I think that might be a really good way to go on her. This is also not an unreasonable option. But I think urgent treatment is solid. And then for blue, I think which one did I say? I think extra recovery is probably a good idea on her. Just anything that boosts her healing, basically, I think is a pretty solid way to go on her. If you wanted to give her some more speed, there are the speed auras there. But honestly, just shoot the healing ability up. And as you get better auras and increase that healing effect, if you wanted to, you could come into the equipment and sacrifice it a little bit for something like HP or speed or some other stat. Maybe a little bit later down the line when you want to start focusing something like tenacity, you could sacrifice the healing effect from the gear because you're getting it from an aura, and then, you know, give her more tenacity there. Or I think there was a tenacity aura as well. So there's a few different options. Auras are kind of an interesting thing in this game that I haven't really seen before in these games. So that's it. Those are my suggestions. She's very simple, honestly. She's very simple and straightforward. HP, speed, and a healing effect if you can get it. I think HP and speed are the top priorities, though. Okay, so whatever you've got that'll get her there, and then you've got suggestions for emblems and stuff like that. But if you're using Liz, if you're doing different things with her, I'd love some suggestions in the comments for anybody else watching. More input's always good, right? More variation's always good. More information's always helpful. So that's it. Hopefully this was helpful to someone. I'm gonna get out of here. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you